Danny. Okay, all of the record buttons are hit. We're recording like everywhere now.
Wow.
I wanted to make clear that we've been approached by some pretty influential advertisers wanting us to sell out. But
Really?
but we refuse. We will
Wait,
not.
we did what?
We will not sell out at all because we're buying in, Danny. We're
Hell
absolutely
yeah.
buying in. Hey, so as the first tabletop wargaming podcast to have a mainstream sponsor, let's talk about the beauty that's Raise energy drinks available at repsports.com. That's reppsports.com.
Okay.
Yeah, Raise energy
I've
drinks.
had them before. They're delicious.
I mean, I'm sure they're amazing. I can't wait for my starter pack to get here. They've been described by other players who we've turned on to Raise energy drinks as just it tastes like victory. I mean, that's the best way they can really describe what's going on with that. And if you go to repsports.com, reppsports.com, and order your Raise energy, if you use our promo code SELLOUT, you receive some amount of money off your order. I'm not quite sure, but what price can you put on raising your victory? Sure. You're listening to 40K crap. Oh, man. Quality. It's always a good day when John forgets to switch the soundboards all the way across.
That's a classic John.
Classic John. Classic move. Welcome to a socially responsible episode of Mob Rules. No video from us this week. You'll be happy to know, having to look at our faces. I am John, joined as always by
Danny.
And we are recording remotely due to the small worldwide pandemic that is currently exploding in our quiet mountain town.
Yeah, so sorry if the audio quality isn't up to our usual standards. I mean, we do try our best to make sure that we're as high as we can get, but today is probably not as good as it. And
also we ensure the audio quality is pretty good too.
Yeah, I think it will be.
It should be pretty good. But yeah, we have like a lot of stuff to go over today, as well as kind of us practicing our remote setup, which is something we're super excited about because it means we can come on, bring on some of our more famous, more talented, more knowledgeable friends, or I should say Danny's more famous, more knowledgeable, more talented friends, as I maintain my producer role for the Danny McDivitt show. Hey, well,
whatever.
What a great couple of weeks, though. So much has happened. So much. Danny, you're famous. You were on a mainstream YouTube channel.
Oh, I was. Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Were.
Yeah. So if you guys check out the Magikarp used fly at 8 minutes and 40 seconds, you'll see me talking about how excited I am to be at LVO.
Yeah. So we were very drunk in line for registration at LVO. And I pulled out my iPhone and I just started going around and live streaming to our YouTube page, which apparently gets saved. So like 9 months later, it shows up in this random video. And, thanks to all of our listeners who like messaged us and was like, hey, did you guys know you were on this? And I'm like, what in the hell is this? And then just thank God you're wearing glasses for that, Danny, because neither of us was. Yeah. We were representing the hobby well.
I would have had David Singer checking me out, trying to determine how drunk I was. Like,
oh yeah, that's right.
That would have been a real thing.
Dave Singer, LVO commentator extraordinaire and state highway patrol officer, was practicing on Danny and I for his ability to recognize intoxicated people. Spoilers: it doesn't take state highway patrol training to recognize.
No,
we were.
But I mean, he does look to stare deeply into other people's eyes, apparently. So I learned that about him.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful moment.
Yep.
That's a beautiful moment. And then
he's a beautiful man.
No joke, he is beautiful. It's that mustache. It's just.
It really is. It's power, pure power.
pure power. But yeah, and then that wasn't a joke at the Stinger. We were actually are an affiliate for Ray's energy drinks now.
This Rays tastes delicious.
Oh man, so good! It absolutely isn't a Truly, which is my current drink of choice. But yeah, some of our listeners have started buying it. They give us a promo code to use. They let us use anything we wanted, so obviously we chose sellout. Which
Because
again,
why not?
sure, they're like, yeah, great, go for it. That sounds fantastic. And we're like, okay. Which is just great. So yeah, we're not selling out, we're buying in, but use that promo code sellout. Danny, one of the cans looks like America. It's an American flag.
Hell yeah.
And hell yeah, that's about all you can do. Aside from that, what have you been up to for the past 2 weeks?
Oh my god, it's been so busy. Well, I've been getting like messages from a bunch of people about that video on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, did you know that you're in this video? Let's see.
Which, by
I
the way, great
started.
video.
It
They
was
put a ton of effort
fun.
into
Yeah,
it.
I think it's good for the hobby to get more mainstream recognition, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's always good.
Yeah. Even if we are Mog Rules in the credits.
Oh yeah, they did credit us as Mog Rules, which I think by
Mog Rules.
the YouTube popularity terms means we have to legally change our name to Mog Rules now.
It's
so
true. It's true.
Yeah, sad times.
Let's see here. So I've recorded now one half of an episode of Art of War Down Under.
You said Down Under?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, do you have a kangaroo noise?
I remember when you told me that you're going to be on, you're like, hey, Joe, I'm going to be on Art of War. And I'm like, oh, cool. And you're like, Down Under. And I'm like, oh.
No, but it's awesome. Like Adam Camilleri is like the coolest guy on the fucking planet. So it was super good. And recording with our fellow Rogue Trader Network artist, Michael Timpe, who is hell yeah. Dude, explosion and an eagle. Love it.
Tempe.
So
I told you I refreshed the soundboard.
This episode is going to be like huge though. So I hope whoever listens to it is ready for like talking about Necrons for like 3 hours or 4 hours. Let's see. What else? I have been hobbying quite a bit. I got done. Did I talk about the Canoptic Doomstalkers last time? I don't think I did.
I don't think you did.
I got 3 of those done. Those are built, painted, based, everything. They're ready to go. They're cool model. What a cool model. And then
that's
the next wave
right? Like the Stalker.
No.
The wang cannon on top.
Well, I mean, I guess if your dick is on your back, John, I guess then that's a dick gun.
I mean, some people don't have some choice but to curl it around like that.
I guess, yeah. All right, that's cool. No judgment to your weird body. But let's see. The next wave, the next wave of Necron stuff came out. So I've been building that. I built a monolith. I built 6 of the Ophidian destroyers. I built the terrain. And
yeah, how was that? Was that looks like just 2 halves kind of slapped together, right?
So yeah, mostly it's 2 halves slapped together plus a base that you glue it on, plus that you glue them onto, so they have a little bit more stable ground to stand on. And then I've been doing some priming to get some other stuff ready. I primed the Ophidians and also the Silent King today. So
oh, nice, yeah.
I'm getting him ready to go. Man, that is so many pieces that I have to work on as sub-assemblies.
Dude, you're fine. The amount of stuff that I have to paint to get ready to fight the Silent King is just stupid. So you have like a year
one model,
I think, at this point. Yeah.
Right. And then I also am almost done building the Void Dragon. What an awesome model, man.
Right. That's another hollow model, right?
Yeah,
like
so
the hollow.
You can see through him. He's got like several like dematerialized slits that go through him, and you can see inside like his heart is like a stone.
That's AVN award-winning movie of the year 2018, Dematerialized Slits.
Oh my god. Uh, but the one thing I didn't know, on his back is like a canoptic wraith as well, like controlling him,
Oh,
like a little
rad. Yeah, yeah.
canoptic thing. Yeah, I'll have to show you that when I get him built. But like, it's got little pincers on his neck, to like
What is
keep him
it
under control.
with canoptic wraiths just being used as like Bluetooth receivers on things in models? Because the monolith has one, right?
Hmm. And also the Tesseract vault.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
it has like a wraith that's like containing the Satan on top of it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I've been doing that. So I've been doing some painting. I've been doing a lot of talking and thinking about Necrons. There's a lot of that going on right now. Um, otherwise, pretty laid back. John and I played a game, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Yeah, we will.
Other than that, I think that's all it for me. What have you been up to, man?
So I mean, acquiring corn is kind of where I've been at. Like I continually acquire corn.
Are you from
And
Iowa?
then for sure, yeah, yeah, I'm real popular in the grassroots states. So I think like last time we recorded, I had acquired like your old corn, one of our listeners, Colin's old corn, Taylor's old corn.
Yeah.
So I have like at this point 90 blood letters. Like I have like 27 blood crushers, like something stupid like that.
27 blood crushers.
I thought, well, I got how many? I got like 12 from you, right? Or something.
Uh, I think 9 from me,
Nine.
maybe.
So I think I only have
That's
like
was a
18.
lot.
Like only
Still,
18.
yeah,
But that's
only
more
18.
like
Jeez.
it's still more like 12 more than you'd ever probably want to run in an army. um, and then
Fair.
a couple, couple of skull cannons, but I have like a real good like range of like solid corn now. So today actually, and we were late in recording solely because of this and not for any technical issues. But I picked up another 30 blood letters, which takes me to the peak ideal number at 120 blood letters I have now.
Wow.
And then my first bloodthirster, and then I'm going to pick up those other two bloodthirsters from you, and then I get
Yep.
to run my new dream list, which I am so excited about. In a way that, like, I think on one of the other discords that I'm on, they described it best as it's not going to win all the time. Oh god, I'm gonna quote it because like I was like yes, like because this, you know me, Danny, this is like my exact want from games.
Sure.
Like this is what I live for in games. Um, Someone said, "Oh, I love it. They will probably win, but you will make them pay." Was like the review of the list. And then he said, the best part of that list will be when they are looking at all that of murder, and you can read in their eyes, where the fuck do I start? And I think that's like, looks like that is what I live for.
Oh, yeah.
Because like the list I'm thinking of in general right now that I'm so hyped for is 6 units of 20 blood letters with a musician and a standard. A bloodthirster with the giant axe, the mid-range bloodthirster who I can make come back as another bloodthirster, and then also 2 units of furries because you have to for scrambles. And like because I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna put in flesh hounds, and then and we'll talk about this later about kind of like secondary choices. I'm like, oh yeah, shit, secondaries. What am I gonna choose? So I picked some furries so I could get some scrambles action on the go there. Because my
Nice.
feeling is if I present on the table 120 blood letters and 3 bloodthirsters, your first targets probably aren't going to be the 2 5-man units of furries in my backfield.
Right. Well, and like
So
I think Furies are like decent at doing damage too. I mean, full as corn, right? They do. They get like 3 attacks each or something like that at strength 5.
yeah, yep.
That's not terrible.
So yeah,
And they're fast.
yeah, and I'm very excited about this because it's very fast. It kind of is to my playstyle of just pushing everything forward. There's no complicated guns, so I don't have to worry about a shooting phase. There's no complicated psychics, so really, I'm like twice as efficient as most players because I don't have a psychic phase or a shooting phase. I just move and punch. Oh, and then Scarbrand, who's in the list, he means I ignore morale, so I ignore the morale phase.
Sure.
So instead of 6, which is like the perfect number of phases to have in a game, I just do 3, which means I can drink to my heart's content and just
Are you running
push models
icons?
forward. What's that?
Are you running icons in your units or musicians?
Yeah, both.
Okay, cool. Nice. Good
Yeah, so
choice.
every unit has the banner or the icon, and then also the musician in every unit. I didn't pay any CP yet to upgrade anything, but the way the list is built right now, it's a single battalion, so I start with 12 CP.
Wow. Nice. Well,
Which
10
I
because you're
say,
going to exalt, right?
oh yeah, 10 for exalting, but even then that's 10, right? Which is like a
Right.
stupid amount to start with. And it means I can look at it and be like, if I come up against Grey Knights, I just don't spend anything, and then I keep bringing Bloodthirsters back.
Yeah.
Because as your will to do. And it just, there's a bunch of, and it's a list I like because it's janky and there's a bunch of stupid little things I can do to just have fun. And like I said, I know as a player, I mean, I certainly wouldn't consider myself or be conceited enough to think like I'm top 20% or anything player wise. But with the list I have, I know I'm going to have fun. And like, that's the most important thing. Back to the Nurgle train though, I painted up five blight haulers,
I know.
uh, giving me my 9 painted blight haulers. And that was in kind of in preparation again for my game against you, Danny, which I
Mhm.
still brought a bunch of unpainted shit because I was like, okay, let's bring like this stuff too. And then I took a net list and I modified it a little bit because the things that were in there made me uncomfortable. Like Mortari being like a single 490 point model. Like I'm not real comfortable about having so many of my points like wrapped up in that one basket.
Sure.
Um, but we'll find out in a couple seconds here why I was completely wrong about that, and
Yeah.
why I probably should have just listened to the dude who made the list in the first place and just ran it as is, which would have done a lot better. Um, but yeah, you and I played a game.
We did.
Um, we came together for a friendly game of 40K, and we
Hmm.
both got extremely frustrated at each other.
Yeah, we did a little bit,
And
which was
that's
tough,
kind of
right?
like,
Like,
yeah, and that's kind of like the segue I wanted to come into here is because like I wanted to talk about our game, not in the way of, you know, hey, we played a game, let's talk about what we did. It's like, no, we lost our cool with each other a little bit, and that's not cool.
which kind of sucks,
Danny.
right? Like, yeah.
It wasn't my fault.
No, absolutely not. Like, nothing that you did like was worthy of me getting frustrated. But I try not to get frustrated about dice. But the last time we played, your dice were super good, and then like this time it started super good, and then they weren't.
And then they were, yeah. So I think after turn one, I think like Danny had maybe a 10, 15% thought in his head that I was using trick dice.
It was 25.
Because uh, because so like again I'm running 9 blight haulers. This is right after the new FAQs came out, so they're running 9 2-shot multi-meltas that are d6 damage, or where I was shooting them at d6 plus nothing damage.
Right.
And I fired like turn one I fired against Doomstalkers, which have a 4-up invulnerable save.
Yep.
And from like a unit of 3, Danny saved all but 2 multi-meltas shots. So I
On
actually
one of them, right?
on
Because
one of them, right? So
I
I
failed
hit with
5
6.
total.
Yeah, so I hit with 6. So I hit with everything. So on a 3+ where I should fail like 2, I hit with all 6. And then I rolled to wound and I wounded with 5.
Sure.
And then you saved 3. You saved 3 of them. 2 got through. I did
Well,
11 damage with those 2 dice.
so here's how it actually went. Because I
Okay,
have a
sorry.
photographic memory of this. Because I
It's
I
burned
remember
into your
every
brain
slight
for
against me for the rest of my life. It's very healthy. It's a very healthy attitude to take.
as a book of names.
So John shoots with 1 unit. I'm like, all right, cool. Like these guys, there's 6 multi-melta shots. He hits and wounds with 5. I save 3, spend a CP to reroll 1 to get another save. So a fail 1. John rolls 6 damage. I'm like, oh my god, you got to be all right. Fine, cool. That's fine. Like I saved. Like 4 out of 5. Like I definitely shouldn't complain about that, right? Then the next unit had 2 of them that were in range, and they shot. And he did 3 wounds, and I saved 2. I'm like, okay, all right, that's how it goes, right? And then he rolls a 5, and I'm like, come on, every single time. Then he turns around with the third unit and shoots at a different Doomstalker because the one that was on 1 wound was out of range of everything else. And he shoots that one, and he gets 3 wounds through on that because I failed I only made like 1 or maybe 2 invulnerable saves, and he rolls 16 damage, like a casual 16 damage, and just like or maybe it was 15. It was a lot. I'm like, okay, I mean, I figure I should take like maybe, 10, but D6s are spiky, so who knows, right? But yeah, it was just, okay, it's dead. Like, cool. So the new toys that I got to bring were like DOA. I should have known that, right? Like, that should have been my
I
initial
didn't
thought, right?
realize that again, that like emotionally, right? Because when we come to the table, because this has happened to me when I took my Gellerpox against you, we get our new toys,
Yeah,
we get them
that's
assembled,
true.
and we're so excited to get them to the table. We're like, hell yeah, I get to play with my new models. And like, I get first turn, and the first thing I do is cripple one and destroy the other. And you're like, well, guess I'm not gonna fucking play with these then.
So it was an emotional roller coaster. Um, which is fine. Like I shouldn't have been upset. I think then it was like my first turn, and then or like during my turn, I did like I feel like I did jack shit to your army. It's probably like I don't think I didn't kill anything. I didn't even kill a
You
single
literally
vehicle.
did jack shit to my army. Oh no, you killed one vehicle.
I
But
got him
remember,
down
because
to
I had
one wound.
because you had one blight hauler and one wound,
Oh, I
and you had
killed
my
the
drill
drill.
down to one. You had my drill down to one wound
No,
because
I
I made
killed
my
the drill on the first turn.
yeah, but I made my disgustingly resilience on on the drill to take it down to one wound, and you got
Oh,
really
okay.
pissed off because you had to devote an entire other unit at shooting at the
Oh,
drill while
right.
you wanted to shoot
Yeah,
at something
I was
else.
pissed.
Because you were pissed because I made my disgustingly resilient on the drill, and you're like, okay, fine, because you're
It
gonna
was
shoot at
like
that.
50% disgustingly resilience. Like I was so frustrated at this point. Like I shouldn't have been, right? Like it's a dice game. You should never get upset. Like if your opponent rolls really good, it's not their fault. Um, so, yeah. And so I felt like after the game, like we talked about it a little bit, and like I felt stupid that I was upset about something. Actually, I felt stupid like the next turn
Right.
because
Well,
like
because if you think about it, like, you knew from like turn one my secondary choices were terrible, right? And you also knew that you were most likely going to hold primary for a lot of it because your entire army was objective secured.
true.
So I don't think from like turn one the only way I win is if turn one I do a shitload of damage and survive, which I did turn one. But then after that, we ran into kind of my usual struggle of just like, Jesus, I'm awful at picking secondaries. I think this comes from a place of just not getting enough reps in with armies, or not constructing in a way where I'm like really actively thinking of secondaries. I think a part of my brain is still thinking 8th edition ITC. And this is a comment I made on the BiffPod chat on their Twitch stream the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Was I think a reason a lot of the stats right now are skewed to first turn and a lot of the stats are strange is because people are bringing 8th edition armies to 9th edition games.
Yeah,
And that's what skewed. That's going first doesn't skew it. Going second doesn't skew it. Bringing or 8th edition armies to 9th edition games is what's skewing the meta right now. And the fact that we're in this worldwide pandemic where we've had maybe a month and a half worth of games in the last 9 months means that
sure.
the meta's moving real slow. Personally, for me, for that game, like I ended up apologizing to you at the end of it. I was getting so frustrated at reanimation protocols, but it was entirely my fault because before we started the game, like we went over lists, and you specifically said to me, "Is there anything you want to go over or explain?" I'm like, "No, it's fine. We'll figure it out as we go."
Yeah, it was like,
And you're
do
like,
you want me to tell you about my Warlord Trader relic?
"Right, right," and I was like,
And
"No, it's fine," you know.
yeah,
And then you kept reanimating, and then like. I mean, okay, so Danny, like one of your like if they made like a meta watch card for Danny, um, like you have like deployment, late game, early game, um, if they could fit it in the little section, movement shenanigans, like Danny, you are really, and I'm gonna pay you a compliment here, so don't listen, but like
all right.
your ability to abuse movement in any way is like one of your huge strengths as a player. And with the new reanimation protocols and the amount of abuse you can do for movement with those,
It's
like it was very frustrating for me because like I am coming in. So I think like what happened is I moved up obviously because all of my shit's really tough. I want you to come at me because I also have strats where I can back away and still shoot. So I
right.
move up, I kill a bunch of warriors, and Danny uses the new reanimation protocol. Yeah, sure, he only brings 4 or 5 back, but those 4 or 5 he brings back are wrapping both of my units, so I can now no longer move. That was frustrating. When my dice died, which they did from turn two, like my turn one, peak, great, loved it. Turn two onwards, they just like, nah, come on, man, that's enough luck. You're good. Um,
God, we're tired now.
Dan, Danny's reanimation dice got pretty hot for
They
like
were,
1 or 2 units, and
and especially when I used my relic reanimation orb, like
right, which again, because I didn't ask you to clarify at the start of the game, I was like, how the fuck? I think I specifically said, how the fuck are you doing that right now? What are you doing that lets you do this? Because it seems to me you're reanimating every goddamn phase, and you had to stop and explain it. And that's when, like, again, when you said you felt like, okay, that was like weird, like turn two, you realized, like right away, I'm like, oh, I'm just being an asshole right now at this point.
well, and like I understood why it felt. I mean, it is frustrating, like no doubt. So I was doing stuff like I had he had killed me out of combat with his uh blight haulers, and I was like reanimating back, and so I reanimated far enough back where he couldn't get like even where he couldn't consolidate through a wall to get to the Necron warriors. And then those two warriors got they were of a 20-man unit, got the relic orb put on them, and they went back to like
18.
yeah, like 18 of them because I
No, I
rolled
remember
stupid
specifically
hot. Yeah.
18. Um, but again, that's not your fault. That's not the dice's fault. That's my fault for not knowing that's something that can happen and not informing myself that something's going to happen like that there. So it was contentious a little at the start. By the end, like I said, terrible secondary choices on my part, some great plays by Danny on your part, and just my unwillingness to listen to you explain how your army worked really worked against me huge. Um, but like I took a lot of great things from the game. Like for example, I tried to do too much. Like so instead of Mortarion, I took my trusty little termite drill full of like blight bomb dudes.
Right.
Um, and Mortarion would have been a way better choice because he would have done way more damage.
Yeah, I think
I made some.
there was that and maybe some deployment mistakes too, I think. Which I think would have like if you would have deployed just even a little bit better, like with the Nurglings and the drill,
Yeah,
I think it would have been a totally different game.
because we talked about this. Like it's weird, and I said in our Patreon chat that like I really the board size didn't strike me. Like the change in board size didn't really strike me. Like I saw it, I understood it, but like most of my games, even though yeah, I'm bringing a termite drill to every game, I'm not deep striking it most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like an added layer of protection for what's inside. It really struck me in our game how small the board is when I was trying to forward deploy Nurglings. Like just
Yeah,
because like they're pretty much in your table half at that point, and that's a position I haven't been in a long time. So that was weird, and that was like a huge learning curve for me. And I think like afterwards we talked about like ways I would change the list, and one of them was like making sure I would keep the Nurglings on the back objectives to hold those because that's what lost me primary. Like the majority of the game was I didn't have those Nurglings back there. Um,
yeah,
and then a couple of other dumb moves, like I forgot to charge a couple units, but I'm getting to a point where I'm trying to better my game and
sure.
kind of get like out of the bottom 10%. So I'm not going to ask for takebacks on that.
Well,
Because even though it's a friendly game, well, even though it's a friendly game, right? I like, I want to get in the habit of not having that as a crutch. Because when it's really important, do I really want to fall back on asking, like relying on the other person to be like a good sport about it?
yeah, no, I mean, okay. Well, what I was gonna say is, I don't think you're in the bottom 10% of players. Like, absolutely not. That is false.
Well, you
Um,
know, if I say a low enough percentage, I feel way better about myself because you have to pay me a compliment.
yeah, there you go. um, but yeah, no, and I think it's a totally good way to train yourself to like not give yourself takebacks because
Right.
it's just good policy, and you shouldn't have to rely on the kindness of strangers to if you forget to do something. Like, that is part of the game too.
Yeah. But yeah, contentious game at the start. It turned to fun at the end when I realized, I think, turn 2 that I wasn't going to win. Based on, like I said, Danny's like high meta watch ability to do movement shenanigans. That I just kind of started getting loudly. Well, what's the best word to describe it?
I mean, you were very
just loud.
it was
loud.
fun, man. So
we turned it into a fun game.
We turned it around, right? Yeah.
But like what was super nice was like, yeah, like turn 1 wasn't a great experience for either of us because like I said, I was making great dice rolls, which was like, again, taking away Danny's new toys. And like Danny was using the tools available to him really effectively in ways that I wasn't used to because this is a new book.
Yeah.
And that made me be like, well, fuck, I was expecting you to do it the old way. Could you please do it the old way? And no. So it was a really nice exercise, right? So regardless if you're playing a friend or playing a random person, like, man, it's a 2-person experience. And just making sure that we have that insight to look back. And because we sat down and had a good discussion after the game about, like, I was like, I think it both started with like, hey man, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
And just kind of having the wherewithal to realize that is a super good place to be.
Well, and imagine if we weren't friends, right? And like we were just meeting for the first time. Like nobody wants to have that kind of sour taste in their mouth after they play a game.
I would just be like, dude, that guy's a dick.
Right? So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I can still do, but I feel less bad about it as friends.
Yeah, there you go. Same.
But to bring us down a little bit and to actually, I should say, you have anything else you want to add to that there?
No. I think that summed it up pretty nicely. Started a little contentious, ended better. Overall, it was a really interesting and fun game. Like, it was interesting to see how I could cope with an army that I couldn't kill.
Right,
and
because so like you killed 3 plague burst 3 blight haulers.
Yep.
And took. So I think over the course of the entire game, you killed my Nurglings, which is a given. The drill.
Mm-hmm.
You killed
the plague marines. Yeah,
I got them. Marines. And that was it. Oh, and a unit of blight haulers. Yeah.
And I got the one character. The grenade guy.
The 2 characters. No, the grenade guy because the flamer guy lived. Yeah. But what was interesting was like, yeah, my great unclean one lived.
Yeah,
like he had 2 or 3 wounds left at the end, but didn't die. Like 66% of my blight haulers survived with pretty much full wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So like seeing the durability of that list was just amazing. What kills me, and we were talking to Dan like afterwards about it, was like my lack of fly keyword.
Yeah.
Which I think the fly keyword in 9th edition is one of the most powerful keywords.
It's still really good. It's still huge.
Because it lets you negate so much. So as we've talked before, what Danny likes to do generally, and I know I hate to talk for your playstyle, but you like to control the board, block off avenues and lanes of movement, which you did really well with your warriors and immortals. Like, I couldn't move.
And they all died.
No way for me to get over. Right. But, like, it took turns and they kept coming back.
Yep.
And, like, if I had the ability to fly over them and focus on the Doomstalkers or some of the characters on your back line, then it's a little bit more helpful. So, like, that fly keyword is just amazing. But, yeah, it was a lot of learning, a great game. And, again, a great experience that made me really think about how I approach a game with a stranger because, I have to watch how I react. Otherwise, it's not a great experience. Anyway, to bring us back to Earth, we said last episode that we were saving it for episode 150, but we had such a huge response on our Patreon. We have a Patreon. Everyone has a Patreon. Mob Rules podcast. It gets you into our Discord, which has a roast us section where our listeners and quote-unquote friends are actively roasting us. There is so many roasts in there after 2 weeks that we cannot wait until episode 150. So we are going to have Danny and I get roasted my wonderful wife is going to come down and read some of these amazing things right after this ad break, which restored and back to its full glory just for one of our listeners who specifically requested it. This quote unquote amazing ad.
Brought to you by Raise Energy.
Yo, dog, what's up? It's the M to the A to the GOS here to surprise your boy Jerry Annis. He has no idea. We about to pimp his night.
Hi, I'm Jerry. I'm 22 years old, and my night is a little worse for wear. It got handed down through several generations of my family. You see, we've been protecting the citizens of this world for centuries now. It's gonna get a lot harder to keep the village folks safe now, though, with the outdated gun. I mean, I don't even have a carpet gun. It's tough. Worst of all, my father was very angry at my mother during the body ceremony, so she left him for a funeral. Those emotions remain. At my own bonding, I felt pretty confused by the feelings I was having, and to be honest with you, I can't look at my mother the same way again. We used to be close, but now that I has ruined.
Yo, it's your boy, the Megos.
Imperial Might, is this real? Holy shit.
Yo, it's real, Jerry. Now give me your keys. We're going to pimp your night. Let's go to West Sector Customs.
It's actually nearly bonded to me.
Let's bring West Sector Customs here. All right, yo. So, check it. Our boy Jerry here needs a fly night so he can keep on representing his family and protecting the small folk from Xenos invasion, all right? So, weapons. What you got, priest?
So what Jerry got here is a stock 33 Millennium Knight Paladin with a broken heavy stubble and a battle can that battle cannot. What I'm going to do is drop the Reaper chainsaw low to the ground so that when the small folks go cruising by, they know who's the boss.
Nice.
Then we're going to take the heavy stubble out and we're going to put in a holographic projector that constantly projects the image of his mom's in front of the knight at all times. Get your boys rage up.
All the better to smite the enemies of the Emperor with.
Exactly. And as for the battle can, we got to modify it so instead of firing bullets, it's going to fire beats. 36,000 decibels of sick beats dropping out that speaker.
Word. All right. What are we doing with that machine spirit IT guy?
Jerry's night is slow to respond and hasn't had an update in years, so we're going to do what we do best.
Preach it.
Turn it off and then on again. Should speed up the reaction time.
All right, boy. Paint. What are we doing?
Jerry's night represents the color of the house and family, and it's important that we respect the traditions and heritage.
I asked paint. What are we doing?
Like green.
Sounds tight-eyed. Let's get to work. Yo, Jerry, we've been working hard on your night, and he is ready. Are you?
So ready. We have an incoming orc invasion. I must protect my world.
All right. Here is the curtain, and here is your night.
What have you done? Why is the Reaper so low? My hair is bleeding, and why is it green?
Well, we out, yo. You officially been pimped.
For you there.
Why is my mother 30 feet tall in front of me?
Oh, we'll ask you for the next one.
I mean, not really.
Yeah, well, we'll see. That's pretty good. Hey, man, that was a long ad break. Holy cow. I
Man.
forgot. So we've had listeners like, hey, can you play that Pimp Your Night ad? And I'm like, ad? Sure, yeah. So then I just started playing it. I'm like, oh, this is like 3 minutes long. We've just lost like every single one of our listeners.
It's a good story, though.
2 of them. It's good. It's pretty good. I think it's one you pull out every 100 or so episodes. So it's for sure one that we do. So we're going to welcome to this frequent podcast putter-upper, my wife.
Hi there.
Here. So if you want to, you can move that up a little bit there.
Hi.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So we asked our Patreons to roast us. Danny and I, famously, no cares in the world whatsoever. And also, we're pretty mean to people.
Yeah, that's true.
So we deserve to be brought down and humbled, which apparently happens quite a lot. So we picked the person who wants to hurt me the most, which is my wife.
Thank you, Amanda.
To read to read to us some of the wonderful things our Patreons have said. No names, please. Apparently, this might affect people's professional jobs or things, which makes me really happy and excited to see what we got. So
must be fucking brutal then.
I've not actually pre-framed this with Amanda at all. So all I've said is no names, and she's like, "How long do you want to keep going?" And I'm like, "Oh, we'll see what happens." But yeah, why don't you hit us with some quality roasts?
All right then. First one. John's mom is such a famous slut that when she walks, her pussy claps.
I mean, if we wanted to look at just an insult book that we picked up from like I don't know, like is Barnes and Noble still a company? I think it is. That's C tier.
Well done.
That's C tier.
It's important that you
done,
that you emphasize that this is John's mother.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Because your mother famously typed.
Yeah, of course.
I have a comment about Danny's mom right here.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Here we
no.
go. Yeah. See, this is why. So, like Amanda has some great things about like making things go together properly. So yeah.
Danny's mom is such a slut. She interned for Bill Clinton.
Oh, she
She interned for Bill Clinton. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a topical joke
Wow.
as well. Really relevant in 2020.
Pull this from
Well, I guess.
1994.
I guess if that was like 26 years ago, that makes sense because But okay, that's okay. Wait, I gotta.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. What we got next?
Danny has such hot takes that he was just sued by an old lady that spilled them in her lap.
I mean, that's a compliment
Oh,
more than anything else. I
spicy.
appreciate that one there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spicy. Again, topical with that McDonald's lap burn
God.
reference right there.
Sorry. Hi.
Sorry, I was moving the microphone a little closer there. See, this is what our listeners don't realize. Like we ask them to roast us. What they don't realize is we're roasting them right now. Was it Rorschach says in Watchmen? It was like, I'm not locked in here with you.
You're locked in with me.
What else we got? I got my sad trombone sound ready.
John's Jank Junction was his wife's idea after seeing his junk for his yearly birthday bash.
Man,
It's fair. It's famously disappointing.
and topical.
Got another one for you, John.
Okay, another one for me. Wonderful.
John secretly whispers "yes, mistress" when he.
Oh, fuck's sake. So, I think I've told you this story, hon. When I was at LVO this year, before the world ended, one of my opponents, after like he failed a dice roll, he had a character that let him re-roll his dice, and he would re-roll it, and every time it succeeded, he would say, "Thank you, mistress."
I think you mentioned that. Yeah, it was pretty special.
I like that, but I've complained about it on the podcast before, how about it made me uncomfortable. So that's, I think, why I was thrown in there.
Can confirm
What
that
else we
that's
got?
true, though.
Yeah. It was. I think like you came up to the table, and I'm just like, man, I'm really uncomfortable.
Oh, no, that you say yes, mistress, or thank you, mistress, after re-rolling dice.
Oh,
Picked
fair.
up a
Yeah,
bad
fair.
habit
Yeah,
from
I
him.
started doing that. It really works. It killed one of your doomsday.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, it's good. What else we got?
Mob Rules has more orcs than. Oh wait.
Damn.
Again, another common complaint. Another common complaint about our podcast is we're called Mob Rules, yet we are not orc focused. Which I would push back. Where Dangly Boys, another podcast on our Rogue Trader network, has an orc focused, very good orc player, and they don't have an orc name, so we have to balance.
Isn't
it
there
out.
boys with a Z?
Shut up. No, it's not.
Hey,
It's
and
not.
I'll have you
It's
know that
grammatically
both John and
perfect.
I do have orc armies. We just don't play them right now.
We do. You know how my wife knows that? Because it's in our crawl space, and she continually asks what I'm doing with it.
Fair question. John, do you have an answer for that?
Next question.
All right then. Let's see here. John's tournament finishes have gotten so much better so fast. It may be sucking dicks for wins.
Ooh.
Fair.
Yeah.
You do get good sportsmanship
Fair. I mean,
scores.
to be fair, like if you go first at a tournament, that's like what 100. I wouldn't know, Danny, but like $120 in store credit, $100.
It depends on how many people show up, John.
Dude, it's like I'm not gay, but $100 is $100.
Scope is cheap.
Let's go. Yeah, find something. I don't
Okay.
feel the brutality of these, right, Danny? Yeah, quite. Yeah, these are all very true things that they're
Right.
saying.
There's a lot of truth here.
There's a
Let's
truth
see
here. Okay. I thought,
I mean,
who better to make fun of me than my own family? They know me best.
well, here's one. Mob rules more disappointing than an unsalted pretzel. That is pretty disappointing.
Damn. That is.
You take that fucking back. That's too much.
Went a step too far.
You can attack our mothers, our tournament bribery,
Our dick sucking
our
abilities.
abilities in the game. But you will not unsalt a pretzel in my presence.
Well, I don't get this next one,
Okay.
but maybe you could fill me in.
Awesome.
So,
Giggity.
Danny is just a filler. We all know we are here for Fred content.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
that's
fair.
actually just a
Yeah.
harsh truth.
It's a harsh. So Danny, whenever we film the
Oh, for
Codex
Friend
reviews,
Danny's dog.
yeah, Danny's
Okay,
dog is
gotcha.
always snoring in the background to the point where half of the comments aren't asking us about the book or anything that happens in there. They're being like, "Why is there someone sleeping in the background of your video?" And you're like, "Oh no, that's a dog." Oh, I think Danny's trying to. There you go. Danny's moving the microphone to film his dog.
Okay. No, now I got it.
Okay.
All right. Danny's fans only account has one sub and it's mom.
Aw.
Oh, yeah. Danny's OnlyFans account only has one sub, and it's your mom.
Wait, whose mom?
Your mom.
Oh,
Your mom loves you so much she supports your porn career, which I think is sweet.
hey, who says it's porn? It's just tasteful photographs.
I gotta
One
say,
video.
I have thought about jokingly setting up like a Mob Rules OnlyFans and posting our podcast there.
Like
If I
Belle
didn't
Duffy.
think it would like fuck up our review product. But like, I'm telling you, as soon as like if ever GW's like, we're not sending you stuff anymore, I'm like, well, I'm setting up an OnlyFans then, and they'll be like, stop contacting us.
We sent you that cease and desist letter like 3 months ago.
Okay, what we got?
Um,
Oh man, she's a harsh critic.
Dang.
I like this.
well, here's one. John's painted models get replaced by beer cozies at events by TOs.
Oh. Oh, that's hella good.
Where this comes, that's really good. I'm gonna ask you later who said that. But actually, wait a second here. Okay, that's really good. I saw the name. That's impressive. So what happened was there was a tournament where a guy came from another state and left like half of his army at home. So the TO let him use beer cozies instead of the models.
Oh, okay.
So what they're saying is, TOs look at my army and they're so bad that they would rather have beer cozies out there.
I would agree. Yeah.
That's fair.
Damn, dude. Hold on. She's not just reading the roast, she's roasting you right now.
This is what I get for like asking her to stay up past 9 p.m.
She's a busy lady, John. She's got to support your hoarder lifestyle.
Hell yeah, choo choo. What else we got? What else we got?
Let's see. Okay. When all intelligent life on Earth has died, John and Danny will still be making Mob Rules podcast.
I mean, that's fair. We're very regular. Given, I mean, we don't have quality inside information listeners, but we do release every 2 weeks.
Right on schedule.
I think there has been once in the last 5 years we haven't released
Yeah.
every 2 weeks.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty regular.
It's more regular
Like
than my
my
bowel
bowels.
movements. Yeah. I was going to make the same
I
joke.
was gonna say like my bowels are regular, but I like the different directions we took it in there.
Well, it's nice to see you guys have a very consistent schedule and everything, because the next comment is Mob Rules that the show that has ran so long that their third member died of old age.
Oh, Jesus. Yes.
So very nice that you guys are very consistent, regardless of how many members. you have.
Fantastic. Oh, my God.
Oh man, that's fantastic. That's of course referring to Dave, who we used to joke was very old when he was only like 2 years older than us or something like that. He took a break and stepped away from the podcast. But yeah, obviously the joke is he's dead. Yeah, great
Man,
stuff.
That's fantastic.
That was fantastic. I was a large fan of that one. What else we got?
The only thing Mob Rules is missing is an ad for Raid Shadow Legends, one of the biggest, most ambitious model games of 2020. But I don't get that one, so I'm just going to let you.
So what that's referring to is the fact that if you have a YouTube channel, you have a Raid Shadow Legends ad before your show, before any video.
Okay.
And then if you have any quality of video games posted, like I'm surprised our 11-year-old hasn't got like a Raid Shadow Legends deal. They pay people to play the game.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
sure-
well, the next comment is Mob Rules, not popular enough for so that's nice.
I like how
man,
some of
they
these
just-
like
Or they like
contradict
feed on
It's
each other there.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's true.
And excuse me, we're sponsored by a national energy drink company now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh,
where's your
Use
national
code
energy drink?
SELLOUT
War?
to
That's
get
what I
15% off when you check out at Ray's Energy Drinks.
thought. reppsports.com, promo code sellout, so we can buy in to a better
Rep
computer.
P Sports.
Anyway, Rep P Sports. That's our new correspondent.
Oh man. I'm dying over here.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did someone say raise? Promo code sellout. What's next?
Mob Rules, quotation marks. We did a bad thing like Mel Gibson, but we aren't sure enough. Time has passed to be accepted back into mainstream society.
Wow.
A podcast.
So, are we anti-Semitic?
Famously anti-Semitic. Yeah, famously apparently.
Famously so.
Like, what are you known for? It's like, what are you known for? A frequent like release schedule that we follow and our
I was gonna say.
anti-Semitism.
Oh, it's all the Holocaust denial ads you keep making, John.
Did someone say denial? It did happen.
Yeah,
and it's a
absolutely.
tragedy.
Please don't
sponsoring us.
take our
Raise-
laughing.
Yeah, please
as-
raise energy drinks. We
Sorry.
love you. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I added
Yeah,
the air horn back in.
I'm glad you remembered what button it is.
Yeah. What? Oh hell yeah! It's the pictures in front of me here. It's not like I'm going to screw up all of a sudden and just. Oh no. Next.
Mob Rules makes sense once you realize John currently has his mortgage on a 10-year bet to see if by 2024 he can have more disappointed fans in his life than disappointed.
Damn. Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
So much so that
John
you
laughed
dropped
so
your mic.
hard.
My microphone. That like
I didn't
literal mic drop
I
on
didn't
that
feel
one.
it was a
Holy
drop
shit!
mic
Yeah.
moment, but
John
good
did
for
it
you.
for you because you did that shit.
Truly, my desk is covered. That's a big F. That's good. I like that one. That was original and very hurtful. But that's what we asked for. Well, what's next? Maybe some Danny.
No, that's cool. We're good with this.
I think they have a lot of hate for you or love for you.
There's a lot of
kind
love for me,
yeah.
apparently.
Let's see. I'm glad I'm getting my $5 a month out of this just by insulting this podcast.
That's fair. Though our Patreon low is
Yeah.
$1 a
We're
month.
spending $4 to
I have to say, patreon.com/mob rules for lifetime access to our Discord where you can insult us. Please continue. Maybe one about Danny while I grab a paper towel for unrelated reasons.
All right, Amanda, what do you got?
All right. So, Mob Rules. We moved to drinking White Claw because Zima was too much of an edge at 10 a.m. on a Saturday.
It's true. It's true. I got to get rid of the shakes, so it's easier for me to just drink White Claw.
Jokes on them. We record on a Wednesday.
Got him.
Haha. Little behind the scenes action. Got him.
All right, so some of these have a lot of photos and stuff. I'm looking
There's
to see.
photographs?
Wait, there's photos?
Yeah, there's some photos, and I'm just like, don't know how to describe.
Did they expect me to
Just-
make a video out of this and edit in photos?
I
Of
don't
them
know.
Dude, we
ripping
got to
me
get this
apart?
on the green screen, John. They just
Oh, hell yeah. Man, COVID's got to sort itself out up here so we can record that. Maybe I'll just do like a plexiglass shower curtain or some shit like that between the tables.
I just figured it was somebody who like took a picture of their shit and then wrote mob rules on the banner over it.
I mean, on a scale of like true to false, how accurate
No.
is that?
No, so there is Elmo with a Marlboro sticker and Cookie Monster with a Marlboro sticker holding the Necron Codex, and it says behind the scenes Necron Codex
Oh,
review by
accurate.
The Rules.
Yes.
Because they're
I'm not
calling us
sure.
a couple of fucking Muppets. I believe that's a British
got it.
colloquialism. I can only take maybe 4 minutes and 14 seconds more of these.
Oh, I
Okay,
only have
all
a
right.
couple more, I
Yep.
believe.
Well, stretch that shit out. Come on now. Like I can, apparently, according to
Just
these
like your
roasts.
butthole.
Mob Rules, the only podcast to ever place 87th in an RTT.
87th. Wow. That's a big RTT.
Yeah. That is. I'm happy we can be a part of such a groundbreaking RTT experience. Could you imagine? Okay, so real talk, an 87 person RTT. How pissed are you that you go 3-0?
Oh man,
and
you
come
better
25th?
God. Cuz for every 8 people, there's going to be one 3-0 person.
Right, so there's 10 3-0 people. So you don't even make top 10, say.
God, you
for-
better
for
be getting
going undefeated.
hundreds. Oh man, that sucks.
Hell yeah.
Mob Rules, where you can listen to people so incompetent at list design that you wonder if they are suffering from brain damage due to lack of oxygen, due to how long and hard they deep-throated a multi-billion-dollar corporation's cock.
Wow.
I mean, I'm very pro Games Workshop, and I'm very bad at list design.
Same.
Well, you have
Yeah.
another comment here about list design.
Oh, okay.
You guys throw shit at your wall list to decide which format you
Oh.
should try to use next.
How did you know?
That's fair, yeah.
Were you listening to our planning meetings?
So, I mean, to be fair, like my list design is usually, and Danny can attest to this, I find one model I really like and then just field all of it. Like like Bloodthirsters. I really like Bloodthirsters. So like I think the first thing I said to Danny is like, how do I run 9 of them? And you're like, you can't. I'm like, well, how do I run 7 of them? And you're like, do this, but it sucks. And I'm like, that's fine. And then we rolled dice, and I'm like, I'm not going to run 7 of them. That sucks.
Because you saw what happens. All right.
Yeah, get on the jank train. Yeah.
Oh, so some whistling. You you would think that with such pursed lips, from kissing GW's ass, they wouldn't have had the outsource to the whistling commercial.
Whoa.
Whoa. So the whistling commercial, and we're gonna play it right after this.
Just
to
thank you.
Say a fuck you. Is our most divisive commercial that we have, like, because like you've seen me make a ton of these like stupid little fake ads and things like that, right? People either love the whistling commercial or they hate the whistling commercial. There's like
And which one
zero
are
in
you?
between. I hate it. Like I can't. No, it's super cool. And it's Peter from podcast. I don't think they make content anymore, but NGC 40K. If you go back and listen to their stuff, they have some amazing narrative things that they do. He made that for us when it was me, Ted, and Phil, because he kind of enjoyed what we were doing. And it was like a chance for him to go a while. So we're like, yeah, that's fine, and we'll do it. And like, it's one of the few that I play to like this day, just because I really enjoy like that style of commercial where it's like, you'd watch the TV and it would be like, buy this album, and you'd have all the song titles go up over the screen, and you would hear like the little bits of every song, but it's just the whistling
It's
parts
so
from
great.
songs. And it's like the actual whistling parts from the songs, and it's really well done. Like he has like a YouTube channel for NGC 40K where it's The only video on there is Frozen Heresy, where he takes the songs from Frozen and fits them into like the 30K Horse Heresy. And it's like one of my favorite things. Like we got a copyright knock for posting like one of the songs last year because a karaoke company copyright infringed us for it.
Really?
But it's super great. And like, yeah, for sure. Like it was, they were like, yeah, you can't monetize this because this is our karaoke version of a Disney song that someone sang about Horace Lupercal. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take it down though. All right. So it looks like we have one more.
All right. So, John, don't worry. The first 40 years of childhood are always the hardest. Mob rules. So full of shit, the toilet's jealous. John and Danny, FYI, I'm not insulting you. I'm just describing you.
Right. So quick vote right here, right? So we are like a 2-person committee right now because there's only 2 hosts. So full of shit, the toilet is jealous is too good a tagline to ignore. And I think we should start using that frequently.
It's very accurate.
It's very accurate. Those are some amazing roasts. Do you want to throw shade our way? Because we'll throw shade back. You can join the discussion on our private Mob Rules Discord that's available for Patreon members. Throw us $1, then instantly leave and spend your money on something else better. But it'll get you access to our Discord and let you join in and throw in the insults. Danny and I have forever. Yeah, we don't kick you out. That's so much management. I can barely even edit this thing. Holy cow. But yeah, my wonderful wife Amanda, thank you so much for reading those things that are only a third as hurtful as the things that you usually say to me on a daily basis.
I have new material now, so I'm good.
Oh, she has new material that demeans me in a way that might escape from her. So there's now no escape.
It's now part of your hobby
it's
too.
Super good times. We're gonna take a break. It sure is. We're gonna take a break and we will be right back.
Earl Hagen was a legend. In 1960, he whistled his way into Hollywood and into our hearts. Decades later, he made a comeback, lending those lustrous lips in the 1980s to such bands as the Scorpions, Guns N' Roses, and Pat Benatar. A half-century after his humble beginnings, he's at it again. This time without cumbersome musical accompaniment, he'll have you wetting your whistle and whistling along. His new album, Earl Whistles Disney, is sure to be a hit with all generations. Order now and receive a bonus album, Earl Whistles More Shit, a collection of previously unreleased material of Earl's favorite songs through the years. On this bonus album, he demonstrates his newly mastered technique of inward whistling.
Okay, but if I do, I have like a big
Order yours today on compact disc or
works.
double-length cassette.
What's up?
Also
then
available at
please don't.
fine retailers such as Walgreens, CVS, and participating Sam Goody stores. Earl Whistles Disney. Buy it today.
It's so
Man,
classic.
it's a classic. It's the so classic. Man, those were so good. And again, thank you to my wife who came with very little encouragement to read these mean
She
things
did a
about
great
me.
job.
And then leaves just one drink over here for me after. Oh, okay. So no, she took me an open one. So I can't be mad anymore, like whatsoever. And again, please continue talking shit about
it
us.
does.
It fuels us. After you go 1 and 2 in RTTs for like 3 years,
And
there's
take
really nothing you
87th
can
place.
say that I don't already know. 87th place in a 13-person RTT. That's just good. That's me. That's what I do. So moving on, let's do a little bit of this. We're doing this as a 40KMZ theme. It's our 40KMZ. It's our little gossip zine for the tournament scene, which doesn't really exist anymore. But that's okay. We're talking about the happenings and the rumor mill from the 40K tournament scene coming out. And a lot of stuff happened over the past couple weeks. And honestly,
Yep.
a lot of stuff I'm not going to talk about because October, Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think there's some things that happen that are very well known. that drawing attention to them any further isn't helpful for anyone involved. And then if you have a loved one that suffers from mental health illnesses or issues, just reach out, say hi, all that kind of stuff. But what I wanted to really kind of refocus on is like handling drama. And this kind of goes back into what we were talking about earlier about our game, Danny, and I put here, remembering there's a person behind every asshole. It's true. So like 40K is just a very cool, uniquely two-player experience. Regardless what a lot of competitive players will say, where it's like it's all about them winning and them and them. It's a bad experience and a bad time if you don't make it a two-player experience or a two-person experience, because at the end of the day, you're spending 3 hours at the table. You're either going to spend it by yourself or with another person. What's going to run you into trouble is making assumptions about that person. We've seen in tournaments where people haven't been the best versions of themselves recently, and it's sort of in a way giving people permission to do that, I guess. I'm rambling a little bit.
No, I think that's a really
what are your
good
thoughts
point.
on this?
Taking things at face value, like not everybody is having the best day, and making sure that, like, giving your opponent the benefit of the doubt, at least somewhat, I think is really important.
Yeah. I think also we're in a world of, and man, God, I hate this term. It's the worst thing in the world, but the 40K celebrity. It's the worst. But there's a lot of known players.
I agree.
I think is a way better term. There's a lot of known players out there. So whether it's like the Art of War guys or the Art of War Down Under guys,
oh man,
or even like people who work for work for GW or like work for companies like associated in that bubble. If you look at the bubble of GW, if it's like stores, like material makers, like paint makers, like Green Stuff Industries is like technically GW adjacent. You have to remember these people are human. And you may have an image or an idea of who those people are based on your experiences with them. And your experiences may be limited to what you say. So say for a great example, we like Chapter Master Valric, right? He has like his great YouTube channel he does where he kind of does his daily 40K news. Or we joke a lot about spiky bits, right? And we have a lot of assumptions and preconceived notions about Rob Bear from that. And like it plays very heavily into our jokes, but I don't think it's fair for us to kind of make assumptions about who he is as a person.
For sure.
Weird caricature that we make. So realizing as we get into this age of 40K celebrity, that when you meet these people, and you will, because it's a real small community, treat it like any other game. Like, and it just we've had things like we started doing 40K MZ like 4 weeks ago, like 6 weeks, like 2 or 3 episodes ago. And we do get these great news bits sent to us and like little like scandalous clips. But also coming from a place where like, yeah, Danny and I have like super thick skin. Like we're not necessarily like super hurt or offended by things that are coming out or being told to us, like, like we're, sexually deficient. We're like all stupid.
I mean, at least not from
kind of
like the 40K community. Those come from, inside our own homes. Right.
Those come from our wives, and sometimes our dogs, which is more surprising. Like when my dog just goes and sleeps on the bed because like nothing else is happening here, Dick. But kind of realizing that these people are human and have feelings and their personality necessarily. Like I don't think the personality is presented on people's podcasts or YouTube channels is necessarily who that person is in real life. So if you say like watch Valric stuff every day and maybe approach him in like real life and you don't get that same kind of experience, then maybe that's not who that person is. Just like exactly if you see someone at a tournament and they like are body slamming people and yelling and screaming, I mean that maybe isn't their best day. And being understanding and supportive of that is like the super important thing to have. Man, usually 40KMZ is us just making fun of people. But I feel like this month especially, I'm a big proponent of mental health and kind of being a huge deal and something that needs to be respected and protected and helped as much as possible. So if I could just, take this like 5 minutes that we were talking about it to just say like, hey, just realize that everyone is a person. And just because someone is a personality or a known player, which is our go-to term for celebrities, is that they deserve to be treated kind of like a stranger, as weird as that is.
No.
And if you're
I was going to say, like,
sorry, go. Yeah.
and everybody's dealing with their own personal brand of shit that they're going through at any one given time, right? Well, I mean,
especially this year.
I've gone through stuff like before, and everybody is. And so it may not be everybody's best day every single day, like you said. And so it's important to give people the benefit of the doubt most of the time.
For sure. And then if you are a 40K known player, I think just being understanding of that and being understanding of the reach you have and the influence you have
For sure
is like a super important thing too. Luckily for Danny and I, we are not known whatsoever outside of the
For
few
sure.
people who listen to us, and we appreciate
that third guy.
you.
Fuck you.
So we really appreciate that. We're gonna take.
Sorry, Mom. I'm just kidding.
Fuck you. You know who you are. You know what you did. Which one though? Who knows? We're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna come back with some actual tactical advice. Based on my behest and my terrible ability at it, I've asked Danny to kind of do a run through of one or two of the secondary objectives, where they're super helpful, and kind of when to take them and all that other kind of fun stuff, and really helping you raise your game and raise your level of skill. Promo code sellout for 9th edition in total. And Danny will be happy to know.
Great, thank
we
you.
have about
I'll
2
be right.
minutes
Yeah,
to
thanks,
prepare
John.
for this, so great times. You're listening to 40K Crap Center on the Rogue Trader Network, I guess, with your host, Eagle.
This is the Eagle, the better American version of a Falcon, with 40K Crap Center. This week, we're bringing you the finest in gut feelings, opinions with no factual basis, and incredibly well-volumed ads for businesses slightly affiliated with this podcast. Our first interview today is with Maeve Meaton and his tournament-losing Pure Sisters of Silence.
Hey, it's great to be here, Lav.
Thanks for coming on today, Maeve. Tell us about your tournament.
All right, so I went into this tournament with the Pure Sisters of Silence, which I thought would be absolutely perfect against Grey Knights, which, as we all know, are reigning absolutely supreme in the wake of the Iron Hands drop-off. But for some reason, I went 0-3 in my RTT.
Well, what happened?
Well, I think it was a factor of my opponents never failing armor saves, or me placing my models wrong, or possibly even bad secondary choices on my part. I don't know. I usually win every event with Pure Sisters.
Man, that sounds like a lot of opinions.
Why don't you? Opinions, it's facts.
No, okay, all right. Well, I heard a rumor that you didn't sleep at all the night before the event. That seems like good tournament practice. How come you didn't win?
Well, not only did I not sleep, Lav, but I also did not drink any liquids or eat anything during the game. I went the whole tournament just like I always do. And last year, I took second at OVL.
Wow. Those all
smallest event in 40K history.
Those all seem like really great, and those seem like really great practices, and they feel like the right choices to me. Thanks for that, Maeve. Let's hit that lump.
Oh man, I forgot I had a super hard cutoff at the end there. Man, this is the day of really old, super long ads. So like I said, our Patreon Discord, they're like, "Do you have this ad? Do you have this ad?" And I thought I deleted them all by accident, or I had some fuck up from the box. But no. Apparently, in my main computer that we're using now, they're all just sitting ready to bore everyone with. So thanks for 40K Crap Center, which was our takeoff, which hopefully we'll have the Falcon on sometime soon to defend his sexy title. I think the plan is right now anyway. You guys don't know this because I'm just kind of spitballing. to have the Falcon and Danny both complete a Cosmopolitan Are You Sexy quiz. And then I will decide via
Oh man,
that
he's going
who's actually
fucking
the
down.
sexiest 40K person.
I don't even remember recording that at all. That ad, I don't remember recording that at all. I was like, "What is this?"
So I've started uploading to the Patreon, which I'm talking about way too much. Don't give us money, it's stupid. But I've started uploading like the old episodes because apparently like some of the podcast programs like they only do like 100 or so, and we're like 146 now. And I'm trying to write down like my memory of the episodes like as I'm uploading them, and like there's some like, well, shit, I don't remember anything about this. Man, we talked about what now? Like Nate was on this. I think Danny,
yeah,
you
it
were
was.
on episode 5. Like that was like, wait, really? That was that early? Yeah, it was a super early one. Man, I don't listen to them. Like, why would anyone listen to this? But anyway, on a more positive note, Danny, you're gonna talk to us about some stuff here. Give me give me a second. I got something for this. Danny's big boss secondaries, I guess.
But it's with a C.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, Danny, you are gonna help me frustrate you more at this point. I think is what
Why
I'm
am I
genuinely
doing
asking
this?
for. To kind of help with secondaries. Keep that
Oh,
sweet
yeah.
review product coming, baby. So yeah, so like secondaries like are such a huge part of 40K now more than ever. I mean, before when we were playing mainly like 8th edition ITC and we had kind of our standard secondaries we would choose there, they were pretty at the end pretty easy to get. There wasn't really a challenge to a lot of them. You didn't have to super consider them when list building or when what you were playing against. It was pretty obvious what you were going to take. The GT packet that came out with 9th edition is completely turning that on its head. And secondaries are such a huge part of the game that your 8th edition army that rocked face and as Maeve Meaton told us, won their local RTT like every time, just don't work anymore because the game is completely different. And a lot of it is due to the way these secondaries are laid out. So Danny, what secondary are you going to help me with today? Bearing in mind, mass horde core.
Okay,
units.
so do you want me to give it from perspective of just that army?
I mean, it would be funnier as a joke if you did
All right,
something
so
completely
instead of
opposite,
really
just to
talking about
really
John's
fuck
army
me
in
over.
particular, because who gives a shit? Let's talk about the battlefield supremacy secondaries, and specifically. So we'll start with battlefield
Okay.
supremacy, and then we'll move on and talk about other. Well, we'll do battlefield supremacy, and we'll do one. We're going to talk about domination. And then every episode, we're going to try and cover a different
Thank you,
secondary,
mistress.
which I think is really cool. So let's talk about domination. So before I talk about domination, I do want to talk about like the most heavily taken battlefield supremacy secondary, which is engage in all fronts, and we'll have our own special talk about engage in all fronts later on. But
Sure. I mean, I know for me, like every
Right.
game I've played, I've pretty much taken that one.
which either is or isn't a mistake, right? I mean, in the game.
For me, for sure.
In the game
yeah.
against me, John, I think that it wasn't a mistake because I think it was the one that you scored the most points on. So
No, for sure. And like,
no, if you're going to play an aggressive army,
Sorry,
it's a pretty good one. But domination is another one that's pretty interesting. So domination is a secondary. It's a progressive objective. And it says score 3 victory points if you control more than half of the total number of objective markers on the battlefield at the end of your turn. So the first thing that you want to look at that is how many victory points you score every turn that you are able to get this. So you get this at the end of your turn and you get 3 victory points. So potentially in a 5-turn game, you could get all 15 points out of this objective because not every single secondary objective you can get a full 15 points out of. So the first thing you have to consider when you're considering whether or not you want to take this is, can your army control more than half of the objectives at the end of your turn? It doesn't matter if you hold on to them until the next turn. What matters the most is that you are on them on the turn that you at the end of your turn. Obviously, this secondary is much better in missions where you have an odd number of objectives, because to control more than half, which is usually like 5 or 5 or 3. If to control more than half is a lot easier than controlling 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 6. Like, those are very difficult. That's a very difficult thing to achieve. And in those missions, like, the objective markers are pretty spread out, so you have to make sure that you have enough units that you can actually do that. So armies that typically can score this kind of secondary objective are going to be armies that have a lot of speed and a lot of units, because you're going to have to get across the board and get onto these objectives by the end of your turn. So armies that can move twice potentially, or armies that are otherwise very fast, like Eldar, potentially like Tyranids, Chaos, that kind of stuff, because they get those move twice abilities, super valuable for them. Or like White Scars are a good example of another army for Space Marines that's very good, or an army that has a lot of impulsors or transports, because they can get on those objectives fairly quickly, especially with a good advance roll. Armies that aren't going to want to take this are armies that are a little bit more defensive. So armies like Imperial Guard might have a kind of a hard time with this one, especially if there's a lot of objectives on the table. Like, they can get one unit pretty far with move, because that lets you move like roughly 20 inches with a guard unit, which is pretty good on average. But otherwise, that may not be the best choice. The other thing to think about is how many turns you think you can score this. If your opponent's army is incredibly an aggressive army, like they're going to be fighting for the objectives, or they're a close combat army that's going to be pushing for your units to dice up and control objectives, this might not be a good one for you to take. Like, if I'm good, for example, I'm probably never going to take this objective against John's Bloodletter Horde. That's a bad move.
Well, I think sort of like just the way you're talking, my armies in general, because knowing my playstyle and the way I construct armies, most of the stuff I do is very aggressive. Where maybe, yeah, by the time you like kill a bunch of my units down, you're gonna score maybe 6 points, like the like third and fourth, fifth turns, maybe max. But like, if you are, like I said, if you're going up against something very aggressive, then you're not going to score that. Or maybe even like, how do you feel against, because there's a lot of the stuff out there now where it maxes like everything's objective secure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something to consider. Like, can you take the objective from your opponent? That's something that's really important too. Like, if your opponent is on an objective, can you shoot them off so you can take it? Like, that's critical. And remember, if they're OBSEC, you have to kill every single model in their unit, unless you're also OBSEC. So that's something to think about. Now, the advantages to this, like, I wouldn't say this is like a super easy objective to do, like, because I don't think, a lot of people don't take this. But the nice thing about it is that it rewards you twice, because not only does it reward you at the end of your turn, but at the start of your turn, because you're pushing for objectives so hard, oftentimes you're going to be scoring better on primary as well. So this kind of is like, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone if you're pushing hard for primary, and you also want to try and get a secondary points to kind of accomplish the same goal, if that makes sense.
So what are some armies that really like shine?
I think armies that can put models or units on objectives pretty quickly, like and especially if they're throwaway units, right? Like, I think Guard probably have a pretty good chance with all those infantry squads to get this on turns 2, 3, 4, and 5, but probably not on turn 1, so they could get 12 points out of it, which is pretty good. Other armies that are like MSU style armies, I think, are pretty good at this one, especially if they're fast. So like Dark Eldar, Harlequins, all pretty good at this. Pretty good at this one.
So like, what I'm hearing is it doesn't matter necessarily much about survival,
Exactly.
right? Because it's scored at the end of your turn. It's about getting there, right? So things like the Aldari, which are very fragile and are going to be countered very quickly on your opponent's turn, you at least have a way of kind of maxing out that one. Another thing I hear you saying is like it maxes out at 15. You're not going to score it maybe turn 1 or 2. I think an important thing to look at as well is how many objectives or secondary objectives
Right.
are you scoring 15 points on? Because
It's hard to
really
get 15
not
points
many.
out of objectives. Like even engage on all fronts, which is the one that people take the most, is very difficult to get 15 points on unless you're really paying attention to it. And you may be putting units in vulnerable positions just to try and score that secondary, and they're not trying to get you the primary. However, this one is a threat for both of those reasons. And so it may be a better choice in your case because like remember, with engage on all fronts, you can't straddle table quarters. So with domination, you can be partially in one, partially in another. It doesn't matter as long as you are control the objective. That's all that matters. So you don't have to push up quite as far.
What does this secondary pair really well with? Because we know, like I said, we're trying to get as much reward as possible for as little thing. Like we want a lot of recursion in our point scoring. So what's something that like really pairs well with domination? So when I'm building a list, like I know that these are kind of some really good options.
Like as far as unit choices or like other secondaries.
Other secondaries, because like when you're talking, like if you're pushing hard for domination, you're probably earning points on primary too. If you're pushing hard for domination, is there any?
I mean, you could take an action secondary potentially, and that might be a good idea, to where you can like land on an objective and raise the banner on it. Because remember that you don't have to keep control of that objective to have the banner. The enemy just can't take that objective, right? So you could potentially score double points that way.
Yeah.
If there's an objective in the center, potentially investigate sites might be not bad. But then your unit has to survive, and that's probably not going to happen unless you have a really tough unit or like an untargetable unit.
Sure.
Deploy scramblers might be a good choice because you're kind of gonna kind of be in the midfield a lot, so you may be able to score that. And if you can take one of your opponent's objectives, then you can also deploy scramblers there at the same time. But otherwise, this one doesn't really synergize with other secondary objectives very well. It more synergizes with primary. So this is kind of one that will help you win primary, which is going to win you the game, but also it'll put you ahead in potentially in secondary points as well.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think domination is like a great one to choose, and I think we've said before, like secondaries are something you need to be looking at pre-list construction and kind of figuring out which secondaries are your play style and kind of what you want to do, and then building your list from there. Love your insights, Danny. Can't wait to like hear things that actually relate to me, so I can like frustrate you, beat you, all that.
I mean, I think this one
stuff.
it does relate to your Bloodletter Horde. I think your Bloodletter Horde actually does pretty well at this one, to be honest.
It does, yeah. No, I think it does. I want it to be self-depreciating. It's the humility I have that kind of guards my awesomeness.
The what?
Coming through quite so much. The humility. I don't know what that is either. We'll be right back.
Do you like cookies but want something more British? Buy biscuits. Not like those you have for gravy. British biscuits. For dunking in your British tea. Stiff upper lip guaranteed. Biscuits. As recommended by Queen Liz of the Britons.
Thanks, Gav. Famed Black Library author and GW alumni.
What a great
Gav Thorpe providing us that wonderful commercial. That was back when, and I think we're going to go back to this, Danny, as we move forward and kind of utilize our remote setup a little bit more of asking
That'd be
our
awesome.
guests to record random adverts for us, which is what we did back in the day, which is how we got that wonderful Gav Thorpe ad. Last fall, by the way, very enjoyable. I'm very much. I'm all done with Siege of Terror, though. I'm very sad. I'm
Lost in the Damned yesterday.
So everyone raves about Saturnine. Saturnine is
Cool.
great. Lost in the Damned is my favorite by far, but I think I have a much more chaos lean or heretic lean for what I want to see. And for me, Lost in the Damned is Abaddon's book, where some super cool stuff happens in Saturnine. and like there's some stuff in there that make me like want to pull my imperial fists out and dust them off. But like the whole book is basically like a dick measuring contest between Perturabo and Dorn. Like that that's what it goes down to. And while like Perturabo's yelling about how big his dick is, Dorn's just like silently chuckling and unrolling his like monster dong.
Wait,
It's that.
Isn't it just
That's
like
my
a solid 4
one-sentence
inches?
summary of Saturnine. No, dude, like Dorn
Really?
is like uncomfortably long, but he doesn't mention it at all. Yeah,
I
that's
see.
just
Okay.
real big dick energy like the whole way through. And they're like, there's a couple times, and then you got Beast Arises in my story, and I don't like that as much. And I feel he's only there because of the Beast Arises series too. And I get it. Like we run a business technically, I guess, right? Yeah, you know, buy yourself some rays and just kind of, you know, promo code sellout. Like we like I get it. You want to draw eyes to your other series. You're like, oh, where can I learn more about Maximus Thane? But the way he's presented in Saturnine is like the wide-eyed sort of like new recruit kind of person, like, oh, Mr. Dorn, what are we gonna do here? Said
I don't even know who
Maximus
that is.
Thane, and I'm like, oh, fuck you. Yeah, that could have been
I read the
anyone.
first one.
Yeah, read the Beast. I mean, Beast Arises.
Yeah.
It has its faults for sure. It's like a pulp fiction novel series for me, right? So is it the highest quality caliber? Like, I mean, Saturnine's great, Lost of the Down is great. Beast Arises was like a great filler for me. It had orcs presented as a force of nature rather than actual characters, which is what they are to me. Like, they're not little cockney, like, ha ha ha, let's go, lads, let's beat him up, wah! Like, that's the worst orc thing. They should be like a coming storm that just wrecks everything and just no one knows why. They did the orc characterization really well.
That's
they
too
did
bad.
Deathwatch dirty, like hard.
Well, I mean, what's important,
but yeah.
and I think that maybe we can leave off on this, right? Is that much like Perturabo did to Terra, you can raise your thirst with Ray's energy drinks.
Wait, I got something for this. Raise our Rep P Sports, our local anchor for tournament play
What a
recommends it. Yeah, get your Raise energy. Now that they've stopped listening because it's too far into the podcast, let's like the actual reviews we have from a listener who wonderfully enough bought Raise energy. This
Jesus
tastes like what
Christ.
dog piss smells like.
1 star.
Oh man, I think this just gave me cancer. Yep, that's a lump. Wasn't there a minute ago. And then let me see here. This. So he said this tastes like unshowered nerd. Well, like so. Part of my job, I'm a hype person. I can hype stuff up pretty well. So when I'm told it's like, hey, this smells like unshowered nerd, I'm just like, so it's really helping you experience that tournament feel at the time.
Just
when
like
you
going
can't
down to
play.
the game store.
Yeah, and he's like, this tastes like the sweat from
Ooh,
Danny's
that's a lot of
moves
sweat.
after an Iron Man GT. To which I reply,
which is what we
so it
used
tastes
in
like
the
victory, then.
previously. Yeah.
Which is what we use at the start there, which is a good thing there. But expect like when we can record like video again, expect like so many stupid raise things, like expect so many air horns.
Hell yeah.
I think I'm gonna go hard on the MLG aspect of this because it's so dumb. And honestly, if you want us to sell out, if
Absolutely
you want us
we will.
to talk about your product, we will. Like it might not be the nicest at times, but we've had multiple people now reach out and we don't understand it because we're not entertaining. Thank you for the 40 people who think we are, but like, yeah, generally, we appreciate every single one of you.
Solid.
Solid. Good. Love it. Denny, this Saturday, God willing, if we get the package in time, check out our YouTube channel. We'll be talking about the Death Watch supplement that's coming out. We'll be talking about the Space Wolf supplement that's coming out. And then we'll have a half-assed kind of review of the Forge World book that's coming out because we're now a day late from. We're about a day late from when we usually get books. And we're trying to figure out when it's.
You'll get an incredibly in-depth and thorough analysis in the one day that we have before we record.
Exactly. So in depth. But I think the thing I'm thinking, like, and we were talking about this, that what I'm looking forward to the most is the Forge World book, because for me personally, like as a Death Guard player, like before I kind of like drop into Khorne, is from what we've seen from the fact that there's a separate entry for a Death Guard Greater Blight drone, we're going to find out how disgustingly resilient it's going to work in the new book. Much like how with the Crusade supplement, we found out early how quantum shielding is going to work. The Forge World book is going to have a ton of stuff hidden in there. And Danny and I have a pretty good eye for kind of spotting weird things like that. So I'm super excited to kind of go through that and kind of figure it out. We're super excited for the Death Watch book. The Space Wolf book is going to be a blast, I'm sure, for you furries out there who like Space Wolves. You thick Raider people.
I have a Space Wolf on me.
Does anyone actually play Space Wolves?
Yeah, true. Also true.
You don't play, though, because you have better armies. Yeah, that's fair. Also true. Yeah, so check out our YouTube channel. We'll have some stuff up over the weekend. To really show that stuff off, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks regularly, as I often told my wife earlier, that's our one benefit. Is our regularity, like an old man's bowels. We
every
on time.
Other Saturday, just like an old man's bowels. Every other Saturday,
every other Saturday, unless I hit the wrong button and release it on a Wednesday, and we get surprisingly good numbers. Sometimes. Who knows?
No,
Danny,
I'm good.
Anything else you want to add in there?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're good. If you've made it this far, God bless you. Have a little brand Bob.
Anecdotal. False. Wrong. Kill yourself.
Because we haven't played him all time, and I haven't lined up anything for an end song on this. So if
Get
you're
him,
going to
Brand
listen past the song, don't. But yeah. Damn, Brambon. I'm excited for Mitch 1.0 to be able to that. Fingers crossed, God willing.
I've been Danny.
But for Mob Rules, I've been John. And we'll see you next time.